Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there. So you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. Welcome to Reality T times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Danica, and today we are going to be discussing Hunt for Love. We're going to be doing episode 12. Just as a precursor, we're recording this one. As you can see, the background is the icon for the podcast, so I thought that's a better idea, so that's what I did. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be doing for this. So again, just with respect to, there's usually no ads on the video, whether that's on YouTube, Spotify, Reddit, no ads. It's just going to be on the audio. But again, the videos are going to be exclusive to Patreon for the first week, and then it will be moving over to YouTube, Spotify, and Reddit will be available there as well. You may see clips and stuff for the video prior to its release for everybody publicly, but that will be kind of the gist of that. But again, audio will still be available on YouTube prior to the video coming live. So there'll be no changes where that's concerned. But yeah, I think that's basically it. Just again, as a reminder, for Patreon, the third tier, that's going to be the Zodiac Killer, the one on Netflix. That's the one's going to be coming in September. So yeah, that's basically that. So let's kind of just head into the reason that we're here, and that's to discuss episode 12 of Hunt for Love. So we are dealing with 2-hour episodes at this point, and because I'm behind, we're going to be kind of doing like snippets. It's still a lot. We're not going to be mincing anything or cutting things off that are important, but it is going to be smaller bits, kind of like we do for the roundups. But we're just doing individual episodes. Okay, and there won't be any for your information with the tell-alls. There will be nothing cut out or anything like that once I get to it. All right, let's get to it. So back with Tiffany and Carlo. We kind of left off in the last episode with Carlo coming, wanting to talk to her about Elise and her wanting to make it official. They're both on separate ends here. So he tells her, and it's so gross the way he tells her that he's doing this thing with Elise. He basically says, so I hung out with Rocky, Cole, and Elise because they're all friends. And ultimately, I hooked up with Elise. I wasn't mad about it. Why did you have to add that? Why did you have to add that you weren't mad about it? Sir, I'm mad at your face, but that doesn't mean I'm going to say that I'm mad at your face until now. Anyways, um, he's like, I woke up this morning feeling happy. Again, I woke up this morning thinking I never need to see that man's face again, but that doesn't mean I'm going to say it until now. Anyway, he's like, he's like, I liked it, okay? Did you have to tell her that? Couldn't you have just, I don't know, left it to the imagination? Idiot. Anyway, um, so he, so Tiffany says, like, I think Elise is a better match for you. Because you're garbage. I guess she sees her as garbage. I mean, I'll get to Tiffany and the way she's kind of treating Elise. It's not great, but anyway, um, he's like, you never told me that. Which is like, well, like, why would I need to tell you that? Why do I need to tell you who to date? Like, you know you and your choices and what you like. And the thing is like, this man was literally saying, oh, I don't deal with people with kids. Yet you're still dealing with her with 2 kids. Like, it's, like I said, if I was Tiffany, I would have been like, no, I'm not going to deal with this person who seems to have an issue with biggest part of my life, and that is my kids. But I digress. Anyway, um, he's like, I said Elise isn't the type that you take home to mom. Again, he's even perpetrating that she's this trash human that you fuck, but you don't like have a genuine relationship with. He thought that she was a slutty chick. So clearly he went into this with um an idea that he was going to fuck around and find out, basically. Um, he's like, I want to continue being exclusive with her because I've had sex with her now. That seems like the right thing to do. Um, that's not what he said, that's what I'm saying, but anyway. But he's like, I was so excited about us. Yeah, I was so excited about us. Then why did you sleep with her? Like, you can't, I hate when men do this where it's like, I'm so excited for what we can have, yet you're going to deal with other people. Like, make that make sense. Anyway, um, she says, what I want you to do is explore that. Go explore that. If that's what you want to go do that. Now, Tiffany to us is like, I am hurt because I liked this guy. She had intention of basically saying, let's be exclusive, see where this goes. And then for her to find out that he's actually been dealing with this chick behind her back, like, yeah, I can understand that being being hurtful. Anyway, um, Courtney tells Joe, we're kind of moving, well, not really moving on, we're still in the same scene. But if you remember, Courtney and Joe left them to go talk, and they're in the room waiting to kind of find out what happened. So Courtney, Courtney tells Joe, like, you can sell your feet pics. Yeah. Yeah, you have great feet. Like, I'm a master at this because I've been selling my feet pics since like 2020. Anyways, um, she's like, I've been kind of doing a side hustle while I was here, seeing people who have really nice feet and like giving them my link in order to like get referrals. And then when they sign up and start selling their feet, I get a commission. Work smarter, not harder. And this is what I love about Courtney. But I think I'll get to it in the tell-all because Yeah. Anyway, we see this date with Tim and May. Again, not really much to say here. Um, they're going stargazing, but we see they really can't really see through the telescope, but they don't. Tim doesn't know how to use a telescope. I feel like I had a telescope when I was a kid. It wasn't a real telescope. Like, you actually can't see anything. And you think that Matt Sharp Production is spending money on a good ass telescope? No. Anyway, they both are business focused, so they kind of relate on that. He's funny, she says. She reads his palm. It's actually weirdly accurate, but then again, I'm like, part of it I feel like she could have known if she watched the show. Of course, she wouldn't have known it was necessarily him coming on, but anyways, the one thing that she does say that kind of trips him is your weapon's trained. Like, I see like a bow and arrow. Apparently, his mom gave him a bow and arrow, one of his first weapons. So he's like, no one would know that. So he's impressed. Um, we then see Colt and Cortney are doing a cute little date in his hotel room. He's in Cabo, I think, or what's it, Cabo? Whatever. But that's what they're doing. So they're having their date. And hopefully it does go better than it does with Usman. Duh. Anyway. Um, so that's basically that. I'm gonna take a quick break here. I know I'm doing it with like 10 minutes in, but I'm gonna take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll jump in with the rest of it. Hi everyone. So I have a new product for you to go take a look at. This is with Pink Salt Wall. So they're a source of pure Himalayan salt. I think we all kind of, have our salt lamps and everything, which I do have. But with them, they offer high quality Himalayan pink salt products that can enhance your environment and help with respiratory and skin issues. Their collection includes Himalayan salt bricks, tiles, building blocks, licking salt blocks for your animals. That sounds interesting. Salt lamps and cooking plates, and much more. All their products are shipped directly from their factory in Pakistan and are available locally through their warehouse in Maryland, United States. So, yeah, if you're interested in taking part in that, you can go down to the show notes where you'll see a link to their website through me. So you're supporting them as well as supporting the podcast as well. So if you go to www.pinksaltwall.com/Tanika Thomas, that's all in caps, you can partake in these amazing products and again, support the podcast. Now it's enough of me. Let's head back to the podcast. And I'm back. So we're going to be finishing up episode, I believe, 12 of Hunt for Love. So let's get back into it. So Carlo and Tiffany, we're seeing them talking again after, he told her about Elise. And he apparently kind of begged her to talk to her, which is, again, I don't understand. Like, why do you already did this. You already said that you know, wanted to be with Elise, and now you want to continue talking to her. Like, it feels like he is, again, manipulating her. Anyway, he basically says to her, I hated not seeing emotion on you. Like, I figured I meant more to you than that. Like, anyways, it was the worst thing you could have done to me. Let's repeat. It was the worst thing you could have done to me. Like, sir, you slept with someone and didn't communicate that to her, yet it's all about you and how it's the worst thing for you. Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page here. Anyway, he says, I hated not, oh, I had that already, sorry. She says, I wanted you to feel insignificant because just so you are insignificant. But anyways, like again, has he not dealt with women before when he like has done something wrong? That tends to be what a lot of us can do. We have the capabilities of making you feel super small. And like I feel like this can't be the first time, but he's so narcissistic. That's the problem. Anyway, she said, I was mad at both of you. And she kind of was saying, which I kind of had issue with, like, we can be mad at a situation, but to kind of be borderline judgmental of Elise in her life and the choices that she's made in it, it's that part for me was a little bit gross because I mean, like, again, we've all been there. I've been there. You've probably been there. Hell, maybe even Tiffany's been there. You can't be judgmental of people's journeys. I didn't particularly like that of her. You can be upset, you can be mad, but don't be calling her trash, saying that it is trash, and saying, I don't want to say ew, but ew. Like that's not necessary. He says, in the words of Robin Thicke, I'm lost without you. And I just want to be like, and you can't help yourself. Like, this is ridiculous. Anyway, she says, what do you want? I don't think he knows what he wants because, again, this back and forth of what he's putting her through. And again, um, sorry if you hear anything in the background. I'm making ice. Um, but um, I've already recorded episode 13, so you'll hear that after. But it's it's kind of like this back and forth of what he does. It's just it's yeah, manipulative. There's nothing else I can say. Um, but he says, I want to explore this with you after he just ended it with her. Anyways, I want to explore this with you. She says, I won't allow you to disrespect me anymore or make me look like an idiot, which unfortunately he is going to make her look like an idiot. And that's nothing on her because she does handle herself well. But he is going to make her look like an idiot very soon. Anyway, he says, Elise was a mistake. Let's repeat that for the next episode. Elise was a mistake. Jesus Christ. Anyway, moving on. Rob says after his date with Jen, which was literally the day before, um, he heard that she went right back to Cole. That's another one that's just like all over the goddamn place. Um, but yeah, she went back to Cole apparently. Jen says, which we will find out about this later. Um, I saw something last night with Rob that's made her upset, and I guess has made her go back to Cole. More on that later. Elise, moving on to Elise now, says, I have barely spoken to Carlo since he said he was going to go talk to Tiffany because he didn't come back and fuck her good. Anyways, um, that she hasn't spoken to him. So she's kind of in this place of what is going on. You know in your gut something is up. So that's where she's at. Mm. So we're moving on to this game that they're doing. I guess kind of like, what would you rather, or what would you, I don't know, it's stupid, but some of the questions that they asked, it's all sex based. Would it be okay with oral not being reciprocated? No, but sometimes that's what happens, unfortunately. Um, would missionary be good if it was the only position that you did? If it's like fun, if it's like with a twist, just doing plain ass, boring ass missionary, no one wants that in their life. And that being the only thing you're doing. No one wants that. Anyway, um, then this doesn't help with the insinuation, especially about Tim. But she doesn't help. But Cole ends up demonstrating this position he calls prone, which I didn't know that's what it was called. I mean, they don't know what positions are called. They're just positions. Um, but it's one I think like we've seen or done or whatever. Nothing crazy. But he demonstrates it with Tim. Now, Tim says he offered himself up as tribute because he saw that the man was in a crisis, wanting to find someone who he can demonstrate this. Why didn't you do it with Jen? Why not just do it with her? So he, instead of him or him picking another woman or maybe another man, I don't fucking know. Tim offers himself. If you're watching the video, you've seen my face. Anyway, so it's basically where you're lying down, leg is kind of like hiked up a bit. Um, like it's kind of like a regular old sleeping position, basically, if if you're on your stomach or something. And and then he just starts thrusting. He just starts I feel like you could have left the thrusting out, but no, he got into it. Literally. Um, so yeah, great. Um, moving on. We move on to um talking about same-sex connections. Would you be okay if a partner had been with someone of the same sex? It's pretty split down the middle, for like who says yay or nay. Um, for me, I've been with men who have been in same sex relationships or have had sex with the same sex. Um, it doesn't it didn't bother me. I think like as long as you're being safe, that's all that matters to me. Um, so yeah, I don't care really. But some of the people here do. Rob, for example, he actually says that he doesn't have an issue with it, which I thought interesting because we have seen his season. Sorry, my bird is freaking out. We've seen his season where Sophie tells him that I am bisexual, and he freaks out, thinking that, oh, you're going to cheat on me with a woman now. Like, I don't know if it was about Sophie and the fact that she thought she hadn't experienced it, which, that's not true. She did. But like, I don't know what it was, but it's interesting to hear him say, like, I don't have an issue with it. Yeah, we literally actively saw him have an issue with it when she told him in their first season. So that was interesting to me that he said that he wouldn't have an issue. Joe says in Jamaica, which yes, it is taboo. It is 100% taboo. It is. Chantel thought it was surprising because he seems so open-minded with sex, which honestly, I didn't know where he was from. I couldn't clock his accent. But now knowing he is Jamaican, it is very interesting to me how open he was about different things. Not even so much being open about it, but being open to discuss it. That surprised me because being with Jamaican men, married a Jamaican man, um, they're free in what they do and they just don't discuss it with others. So I found that part very interesting that he is actually really open on talking about those things. I did. Do I find it surprising that he's like, "Ooh, I don't know about same-sex relationships"? No, I don't. Unfortunately, it's the culture. I don't agree with it, but it's just not surprising to hear him say that. Um, unfortunately, the issues when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community in Jamaica is is the citizens have the issue. So, um, that didn't surprise me. And maybe deep down he really doesn't care and feels like he has to say that. But it doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. Um, yeah. Anyway, we then see Carlo with Elise breaking the news to her like an idiot. Um, he basically says, I have been conflicted about my decision to leave Tiffany and be with you exclusively. Anyway, um, so he's like, so I asked for Tiffany to take me back. He's gross. He really is. He's gross. Um, and he says that my heart lies with her. Your heart lies somewhere in the goddamn ocean. Like what's that guy's name from Pirates of the Caribbean? It's there. It's, uh, anyway, heart lies with her. Jesus Christ. She says, well, why did you have sex with me then? Fair question. And I think the answer is simple. You were easy. Tiffany's not. And it's okay to be easy, but like own the fact that that's most likely why he slept with you, and was able to. You let him in. Because me, I would have had questions. But again, to her defense, she literally says that he was playing both sides. So I can understand for Elise that's really confusing. Like I said, he sucks. Um, he says, before he says anything, she also mentions, why did you give me this teddy bear? Bon Bon. We don't have his name yet. We have it in the 13th episode. Bon Bon. How Bon Bon has become a character. Anyways, he says, having sex was a mistake. Let me repeat. He says to Elise, having sex with you was a mistake. I feel horrible for her. He's horrible. He's a horrible human. Anyway, um, she's like, you came back for like more. Like they basically had sex more than once, or like more than one day. So how is that a mistake if you are having sex with me multiple times? He says, I came here to grow. What? You came here to grow, yet the first thing you said to Tiffany when she told you she had kids was, I wanted to kind of like date someone who didn't have kids because I want to have kids with them and only me. But you're here to grow. You end up having sex with somebody who you said is a woman you don't take to mom, but you're here to grow. Because something tells me you've done that before. And hey, if you go on with your bad self, but like don't pretend you came here to grow. You didn't. Um, he says to be with a mature person. Problem with wanting to be with a mature person is that mature person wants to be with someone mature themselves. You ain't it. Not even close. No one actually is on this show, but anyways. But maybe 10. Maybe 10. Um, he's like, I mean, Tiffany says you're beneath me. Let me repeat. He says to Elise's face, Tiffany says you're beneath me. Bitch. Number one, why would you tell her that? Why would you tell her Tiffany said that? Number two, you can't think differently, whether you agree with it or not. You can't think for yourself. Tiffany says that you're beneath me, like a child. Um, he goes on to continue to say that you're trash. Let me repeat. He says you're beneath me, or she says you're beneath me, and that you're trash. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Anyway, um, she says, this is why I act crazy. Because of guys like you hurting me. I mean, there's a reason she is the way she is. And I don't blame her for that. She's like, take your bear and go get your girl. Go get Tiffany. Take Bon Bon and get the fuck out. Anyways, moving on. This is a moving moment. And I'm really happy for her feeling comfortable to have this conversation. So Chantel tells Tim while on a walk on the beach that a friend from back home told her that they had feelings for her. And that kind of like it's maybe this experience has solidified that maybe there's something there. Tim says, well, have you been on dates with this guy? I'm assuming it's a man, right? And she says, well, about that, it's actually a woman. And we kissed. She kissed a girl and she liked it. Like for real, for real. Not like the Katy Perry way, but for real, for real. Um, she's like, I'm attracted to her. And she's like, this is confusing to me because I like penetration. You can still have penetration in a lesbian relationship. I like penis. You can have, you know what I mean? But not the real thing. But again, it is okay to be attracted to Ashley and want to explore that and still be okay with wanting to have men in like in the background or not in the background, that's the wrong way to put it, but be interested in both. Whatever she identifies as, it's perfectly okay. And she doesn't have to decide that now. Whether it's one or the other or both or wherever the wind may take her, she doesn't need to decide that right now. Just explore this connection that you have. Um, she says, when she kissed me, I was scared. And it's sad that you have to be scared, but I get it. She thought about her community, her friend group, her family. She says, she grew up very religious. She grew up in a strict family. This is not something that you are taught. This is not something that is quote unquote acceptable in the Black community as a whole, but especially when you're dealing with someone like her family. Like this doesn't happen. So I understand her conflict in that. She says maybe they will think I'm a freak. And honestly, if they do, that's their problem. I think she is grappling with the idea that maybe she thinks of herself as a freak too. Um, I don't think she feels that way now, but I can understand in the beginning because of that rhetoric that we are taught, thing that gets taught. Like, yeah. And he basically says to her, "You're not a freak. You're normal. We're all normal in our own way. This is our normal." In my honest opinion, he says, if your family loves you, yeah, they might be shocked. And yeah, they may need to go through a grieving process. That is normal. That is okay. Um, but they will accept you. They have to. If they love you, they have to accept you. And if they don't, well, it's their problem. Anyway, moving on. We got a party, and it's not going to be a party for long. But before that party starts, we see Chantel calling Ashley. She brings up kissing Jen and feeling guilty about doing that. She's like, I felt like I was cheating on Ashley. She says, I want to explore this further with you. And Ashley looks very happy that is where she concludes with this journey. Poor Chantel is like, how do we have sex? And she's like, wait, maybe it's too much. Maybe it's too much. Honey, you're about to find out how y'all have sex. I would say, watch a porn video. Maybe Google. Google AI will come through and help you. But something tells me she's figured that out. Anyways. And have fun. Do it all. Live your life. And she looks so happy, and that's all that matters. How about we just go on a date, she says. Start slow. Start there. Now we're at the party. Cortney and Usman, we see them talking. And Usman asks her, are you choosing Colt over me? And she's like, I just feel bad because I took you away from your experience. So bitch, that's the answer. They just be honest, tell him, yeah, yeah. She should have told him a long time ago. When she's crying over Colt on their date. Like, I don't know. Um, she said, I feel like this is a breakup. She ultimately is picking Colt. And he says, it really hurts. You know what? I believe it hurts. I can actually see on his face he looks torn up. Surprisingly enough. I think this is the first time I've actually seen him look devastated that something didn't work out for him. Um, and we've seen him with, like, this is now the third woman, someone in his age range. Anyway, so Tiffany, because Tim wants to know the tea, so she fills him in on Carlo and their conversation, what he said. And Courtney says, I think you should talk to Elise. I think she should too. And I think it should have maybe only been Tiffany talking to Elise, not the entire fucking group, but we'll get to that later. Um, so then we see Elise and Courtney talking. And Tiffany, because someone says, like, oh, I see Courtney's talking to Elise. And here's my thing. I think it is okay for Courtney to be friends with both sides. I don't think she needs to pick sides. This is not high school. Um, but she is kind of going where the wind does take her. She is playing both sides. That's the difference. Um, yeah, that part's the issue here. Because Tiffany does say she just sways with the wind. That's what she does. But Courtney says this is all high school. I don't disagree with how we're acting about it, but she's not helping by displaying both sides, not being on both sides, or not being on both sides of the word, but being friends with both sides, or you know what I'm trying to say. Um, Elise is like, yeah, like Carlo ratted her out, which he did, saying that I'm trash and I'm a whore. Ultimately, yeah, that is what Tiffany did. And that that part is not okay. While Tiffany and Carlo are talking, Tiffany sees Elise looking over at them. Well, both Elise and Courtney. And she's like, why do they keep looking over here? So Elise walks over and says, I think we need to talk. And she's like, let's do it. let's let's talk. So she says, I just want to know what the fuck. And this is what Tiffany says, I just want to know what the fuck. And Elise says, same, I also want to know what the fuck. And she, I think, did the thing with Tiffany that I'll give her is, yes, I talk shit, and I will own that I talk shit. So she says, it doesn't matter if I said you're trash. I shared things with you about him. You knew I was into him. And yet, the first opportunity you had, you went and had sex with him. Um, but you can date, she really says, like, you can date other men, but he can't talk to me. No, there's a difference between Tiffany exploring connections, seeing what's out there, and then you doing that and him sleeping with the connections. That's the problem. Because if was really feeling you, he should have expressed that. Because the one thing I can give Jen is her connections know about each other, you know? Um, and again, Tiffany is open about where her mind is at with her connections. Elise came out of left field. Where were you? We didn't know anything about this. And if he was honest about his feelings towards you, then he should have said that. If he was like, I'm really feeling her and I'm thinking like that's the way I want to go, he should have said so. That's the problem here. It came out of nowhere. Um, so yeah. Tim is like, you're fake. Just out of nowhere. You're fake. And I'm just like, okay. But he's feeling Elise. Not anymore, apparently. Um, and Tiffany says, like, I trusted you. And you didn't have the balls to tell me. And Jen is like, that makes you trash coming from one trash to another. But jokes aside, she's not wrong. What makes you trash is that you were transparent. Not the fact that you slept with him, but that you weren't being transparent with someone who I thought was your friend. That makes you trash. Anyway, um, the group then disperses so that Tiffany and Elise can talk alone. And Elise says, I wanted to talk to you, but he told me that you hate me. And you believed him? um, it was a mistake, but he slept over multiple times, something Tiffany did not know. She's like, he got me breakfast. And Tiffany says, he lied. He lied. He didn't tell me that it was multiple times. He made it seem like it was one time. And it sure as hell wasn't talking about breakfast. And we haven't even talked about bonbon. No one knows about this. And she says, I'm done. So after that, Carlo comes over to Tiffany and says, can we talk? No, get away. Gross. He's gross. And Tiffany says, why? What is there to talk about? And he's like, so did Dilly say things that I left out? Fucking love it. I love when a man is like, so did she say things that I didn't tell you? What do you think? Been there, done that. Been there, done that. And again, I said this to my ex. I think I said this to my boyfriend too, before. If there is something that I need to know, I'd rather hear it from you. Yes, I'm going to be mad, but I want to hear it from you because you are the person that I'm in this with. You owe it to me, not the other person, not this woman or whatever. My boyfriend got that memo, and like before when we weren't like as thick as thieves as we are now. And it definitely helped with where we are today. My ex-husband never got that goddamn memo, and how he was when we were together. Not so much the narcissism and the manipulation. Oh, maybe partially the manipulation. Um, but he kind of reminds me of Carlo in terms of like, oh, shit, did you say things that I didn't know, that I didn't tell you? I forgot or some shit. It's just men. Um, she's like, yeah, like it wasn't the one mistake. It was multiple mistakes, quote unquote. Your words, not mine. And he says, I guess I left things out. No shit, Sherlock. Then, because this was jam-packed party apparently, then Jen comes to May because it's a little issue earlier that we talked about that Jen says she saw something and made her second guess Rob. It's because she says that she saw May leaving Rob's room the same night they had the date, the night after the date. And she said like it looked like she was busy, like they were playing Mario Kart. They actually were playing dominoes. So it's not a, it really was dominoes. And Joe, oh my God. Oh, Jamaicans, we can't help ourselves because Joe in the background's like, without me? You played it without me? Jamaicans don't rock with their dominoes. Anyway. And then they're like, hey, Rob, like, can you come out here, please? Because there's a shit afoot. We need to talk to you. So Jen tells Rob the same situation she just told me. And she's like, she looked real tired playing dominoes. No, you can get tired because it could be a really active thing if played by Jamaicans. We're just like, you know what I mean? Like, we're serious. Like I said, I don't know what Rob, like, if he's part Jamaican or what. I don't know. I'm just, we know he's half black, but yeah. So, yeah, she looked real tired. And I think it was May. It was like, maybe I was tired because it was 11 p.m. Bitch, I gotta go to bed. Not because I had sex, but because it's 11 p.m. and I'm just, your body just naturally gets tired. So Rob is like, this is a double standard. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And Rob says, you know what that is, bro? He's saying that's cool. That's jealousy. Like your girl is jealous of what may have happened with May. What may have happened with May. And then Cole comes in and says, well, it's because you're a playboy, okay? And okay, I mean, you're the pilot here. Aren't pilots known for being playboys, especially when they're not married? Anyway, you make out with the lease, okay? You cheat on your wife. Okay. First of all, Cole, get your facts straight. It was online cheating. Get it straight. Not physical cheating. It was online cheating. Get get your facts straight. Anyways, why is Sophie being dragged into any of this? I'll tell you why. Jen's the reason because she's clearly talking shit. Um, and Cole is like getting real close and personal. He's like, no, let me step up here. And he's like towering over Bob, getting real close and personal. But anyways, saying, you're the only person I ever wanted to fight. So throw a punch. See what happens. You're getting swiftly ejected from Tulum. Or just the resort or whatever. Please go ahead and do it. But in the words of Carlo, which this is in the tell-all, he's too pussy to actually do it. I can say that because I'm not your friend. But anyways. All right. Guys, that is it. That is it for this episode. Um, just as a forewarning, the 13th episode will be audio only. There won't be any video for that. But yeah, I think that's it, y'all. I think that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.